Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Assalamu alaikum, which means peace be upon you. A beautiful greeting that is actually a commandment by God that whenever a Muslim greets another Muslim, he must pray for them by saying, salam, which means peace, peace be upon you. And that is how Muslims greet. Let's get started. So we have already discussed Islam in a nutshell. What are the major belief system, and then what are the acts of submission that we have to do once you say, yeah, I'm a Muslim. Now what? Well, these are some of the things that you have to do. In order to become a Muslim, your belief, your mindset has to be correct without any, influences from our culture, our how we grew up. Of course, a lot of us are probably, growing up in a Christian society, Hindus or Jews or what have you, and your parents or your culture have taught you something, and might have taken you away from what we consider it, the natural belief that every human being has, that they must believe in God, and the correct belief, and that is what we are trying to do. Our intention is to get you back on the true way of believing in God, believing in the monotheistic way of life, believing in the oneness of God. So we've already discussed that. We've discussed angels, and we believe that that's part of our belief, and otherwise you're not a Muslim. Well, what's the next thing? These angels came down to different messengers, right? Angels created for different purposes, but one of the angels brought the message of God to humanity, but they brought it down to a particular person in a community. So let's and that is who we call messengers or prophets. And we won't get into detail about the difference between messengers and the prophets, but for now these are human beings who brought down the message, who were responsible to convey the message of God throughout the time. And let's say what Quran says about these people, these human beings. So these are some of the verses. One of the verses says, and certainly we have sent messengers before you. Before you, who's talking about Prophet Muhammad over here, right? So this is Prophet Muhammad. Of them there are those whose story we have related to you, and some whose story we have not related to you, right? And these are 25 prophets that are named, prophets or messengers that are named in Quran, by their name. Some of them I'll name them, like Moses and Jesus and Jonah and Joseph, Muhammad, of course. Peace and blessings be upon all of them. If you do not believe in Jesus, or if you do not believe in Moses, or other prophets that are mentioned in Quran, and other prophets that are not mentioned in Quran by name, you must believe in all of them. That is the correct belief in Islam about these prophets. So that's one of the verses. And if you don't believe in any of them, or even one of them, you're not a Muslim. And there never was a nation, but a warner had passed among them. What does that mean? There's another verse right here, Surah Fatir. Okay, the chapter of Fatir, verse 24. It says, and there was never a nation. Basically, what God is trying to tell you is that every nation was given a prophet. Now, you might ask, well, in 2014 and onwards, we don't see a messenger or prophet around us, and we'll get into that. But know that every single nation was given a prophet, and a warner came to them. Warner about what? Hey, stop doing what you're doing, otherwise you're gonna get punishment by God. Or do good things so you can get the pleasure of God. The good, you'll get a paradise. And for every nation, there's a messenger. Okay, so this right here closes the deal. We know that every nation was sent a prophet. This is mentioned in Quran. So let's get into what these prophets were. What were their obligations? Who they were? What were their qualities? Do we need to worship them? Of course not, because we learned in one of the lessons that you should only worship God. So what was their purpose? So number one, we already said. So we'll get into the Islamic belief about these prophets. We mentioned that there were 25 of these prophets that are mentioned in Quran, but there's a lot more that were not mentioned, but we must believe in all of them. Okay, believe in all prophets and messengers. What else do we need to know? We need to know that that the subject of the message was the subject, the main subject, and like what did they come with, right? What was the message? Was mainly to say, hey, warning, okay, and good news. Warn and good news. What does that mean? Warning that, hey, stop doing bad things, stop doing XYZ, whatever you're doing, and otherwise you're going to get punishment, which is hellfire. Hey, continue doing on good things, and by the way, these are some of the good things that you can do to get close to God, and if you do that, you will take a good news of paradise, okay, where you're going to live forever. All right. So for the most part, we should also know that that the something that you need to know for all times, every single prophet, morals were the same. What does that mean? Hey, respect your parents. No prophet came and said, hey, one of the prophet, like Prophet Jesus said, hey, you can respect your parents like this. And then Moses came and said, no, you don't have to respect them as much. Not like the way Jesus taught us. No, morals were the same. There's some morals, universal morals. Don't lie, don't cheat, don't kill, things like that. These were always the same. Okay, they haven't been changed. And by the way, the one thing that you must know is that Islam, meaning submission. You already know this. Submission. Okay, was same. Okay, their religion was same. Islam, the meaning submission, was same for all of them, and then and they were all commanding everybody to basically apply. Remember the oneness of God that we mentioned? Oneness of God, right? Which we talked about in His lordship, His worship, and His attributes. All of them commanded the same things, okay? But just keep in mind that the laws might have been different. What does that mean? So, for example, you can say, you need to fast. Muslims fast 30 days in a year. Maybe Prophet Jesus or Moses commanded their people to fast, but not the same way as Muslims fast right now, right? So just a very high-level example that the laws might have been a little bit different, but morals were always the same, and they all commanded people to do the same thing, which is to apply the oneness of God in their life, meaning you should believe that God is the only one who's the Lord. Allah is the only one who's worthy of worship, and He has some attributes that are not comparable to anything else out there. And also they warned and gave good news. Warning to the people who were doing bad things, good news to the people who were doing good things. And what are those good things? Of course, they are either morals or either laws, right? And continue on with doing the good things. And by the way, there are some restrictions that God is telling you. Pray 5 times a day for Muslims, maybe pray once a week for other nations, but the key is that you need to follow some morals, some guidelines, and here's the good news and here's the bad news. This is the duty of all the messengers, and they're being sent down this revelation by angel, which we already mentioned that it was Angel Gabriel when we were discussing the concept of angels in Islam, right? Now, what is our duty? Let me just get rid of all this. So one thing that we know, they all followed Islam. Their religion was not considered Christianity or Judaism or anything else. They all followed Islam, which is submission to God. Right? Now, we know every nation was sent a prophet, and we should also believe that we do not prefer one over another. Okay, we should always believe that all prophets, okay, they fulfilled their duty, they fulfilled their mission. Their mission was to clearly, now that doesn't mean that all of their nation was a Muslim, right? Our job in Islam as a Muslim is to convey the message, and that is what our intention at Muslim How is, to convey the message of God. Now that doesn't mean everybody's gonna become a Muslim. Now we don't judge our our mission's success based on the results. Whether everybody becomes Muslim or not, that's not up to us. But the key is we want to make sure that we clearly fulfilled our purpose, which is to convey the message of God. And all the prophets did that, and that is what our duty as human being or as Muslim is, to believe that they fulfill their missions, and they also and we do not prefer one over another. Okay, they were all human beings. They were all human beings. Okay, and what does human being do? They eat. They ate. They drank. Slept. Had babies. Right? They lived a normal life. They went to the market. They did business. They fought wars. They were human beings. Only thing is, they are given the divine message of God through angels. Through they communicated, some of them directly with God. But they were all, at the end of the day, were human beings. Okay, and they all ate, drank, slept. That means that, what about Jesus? Did he eat? Yes. Did he drink? Yes. Did he sleep? Of course. Right? Now, was he given birth? Yes, he was a human being, and that is. But we must believe that he was a messenger. Yes, in some cases, we also should believe that they did make errors. Okay, they made errors. How do we know? Such in the case of Prophet Adam. Did he eat from the apple? Not apple. That's the Christian belief. But he ate from a tree that he was forbidden to eat from, and he ate for that fruit, whatever that was, and he ate from it, and that was considered a mistake, an error, or sin. But the key is, did not persist in their sins. That's key. They did not persist in their sins. Okay, and always ask for forgiveness. Okay, they did not have, most important one, did not have any divine characters, such as they knew the knowledge of the unseen. In fact, Prophet Muhammad is noted to tell people that, hey, I don't know the knowledge of the unseen. I don't know when the day of judgment will come. I can only tell you whatever God has told me to, whatever He has informed me. But I don't know if you're going to go to hellfire or paradise. But the key is, my job is to convey the message. So they were human beings that did not have any divine characters. And again, if they had divine characters, that of course goes against the oneness of God. So basically, that's the belief that Muslims must have, that these prophets, these messengers, they did not have any divine characters. Okay, now here's another important one. They were given miracles. What do I mean by miracles? These special, supernatural, I wouldn't say powers, but supernatural acts that they could have done, such as in the case of Jesus. Okay, born without a father. That's a miracle. That's a miracle, right? He could, speak from cradle. Basically, he's a little baby and he could speak, and people could understand him, right? Moses had different, his the splitting of ocean, right? Different miracles. Now, why were these miracles given to them? In order to strengthen their prophethood. Imagine your neighbor knocks at your door and says, hey, yesterday an angel came to me and he said that you need to convey the message of God to your people. I'm here to tell you that you need to follow me. If you follow me, you're gonna go to paradise, and if you don't follow me, you're gonna go to hellfire. I personally would shut my door at him and say my neighbor has gone crazy. And that's exactly what happened to them. These were normal people, very well respected in this society, and now they get a mission by God, and now they have to go convey the message, and people say, you've gone crazy, right? And now in order to strengthen their message, they were given some miracles, such as speaking from cradle, splitting of the ocean, born without a father. And in the case of Prophet Muhammad, besides other physical miracles, and we can talk about that later, but one of the miracles I can mention is that he was able to split the moon, and people saw it, and then he brought it back. But the biggest miracle which exists till this day is Quran. It's Quran, right? And we will talk about why Quran is a miracle when we talk about the messages, the scriptures in our next lesson. But Quran is a miracle of Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing be upon him, and exists till this day. Now, another one, that is most, one of the most important ones is that, and all of these are important, but the key is that Prophet Muhammad, again, believing in him along with other prophets, is that he is the last, okay, and he's basically the seal of prophethood. No prophet is going to come after him. If somebody claims that yes, angel came to me, and such as I guess the prophets of Mormon religion, the Mormon movement that's out there, some guys claiming to say that I'm the new prophet, and they still consider them as Christians. Well, same thing. If a person comes and says, "Yep, I'm still a Muslim, but by the way, I'm the next prophet after Prophet Muhammad," then that cannot happen. Our belief is that Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing be upon him, is the last prophet, and he's the seal of prophethood. Okay, and another characteristic of Prophet Muhammad, besides the fact that he is basically the last prophet and the seal of prophethood, okay, another most important aspect is that he was sent to the whole world. The whole world. As we've already mentioned before, that there's every single nation was sent a prophet, but guess what? Those nations, those prophets were sent to that nation. In the case of Jesus, he even said it himself that I'm sent to the people of Israel, right? But Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing be upon him, was not sent to the people of Arabs or Pakistan or India or America. He was sent to the whole world, and that is so he's a seal of prophethood, and his message is supposed to be delivered to the whole world. Okay, and he's the last messenger. That is the belief that we must have. In order to become a Muslim, you believe in all the prophets, but the most important of all, you must believe in Prophet Muhammad, believe that he is the last, and he's a seal of prophethood. No prophet is going to come after him, and he's sent to the whole world. We must put our love, of Prophet Muhammad over love for ourselves, our parents, our wife, offsprings. We must love him more than anything. After, so first love is for Allah, for God, and then second person that you must love is Prophet Muhammad, and after that, whoever else. But the key is, what does that mean that you love him? Well, whatever he says, whatever he is, the message that he has conveyed to us, we must believe in it and make sure that message is fulfilled. We are following his commandments, right? That's the key as a Muslim, that you must follow every commandment that Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, said. And again, these messengers and prophets did not command it on their own. Whatever they said was revelation given to them by God. Okay, and miracle of Prophet Muhammad is Quran, along with other miracles, and we'll be discussing that in our next pillar of faith, which is going to be discussing the messages or the books and the scriptures that were given to different prophets, and why we must believe in Quran as a final scripture, and how it is a miracle that exists till this day that was given to Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him.